Hello guys, welcome back. Merlin here. I do apologize for the long delay in videos. I am working to rectify that. I'm just in the middle of getting a new mic due to the fact that my Hunter Spider one broke. But with that being said, let's jump into it. Today we're going to be doing a video on the deck tech Jeskai Cyclone. So, if you take a look at this deck, it's pretty simple. 4 Flourishing Fox, 3 Footfall Craters, 3 Drain Healer, 3 Valiant Rescuer, 3 Ominous Seas, 3 Startling Developments, 3 Drain of Stingers, 3 Go for Blood, 4 Zenith Flare. That is your win condition. Zenith Flare deals X damage to any target and you gain X life, where X is the number of cards with cycling in your graveyard. And then you move on to 4 Frost Veil, 3 Boon of the Wishgiver, 2 Plains, 3 Island, 3 Swamp, 1 Hallowed Fountain, 3 Temple of Enlightenment, 4 Steam Vents, 3 Sacred Foundry, 1 Temple of Triumph, and 4 Rogan Triumph. Now, other than the land, this deck is completely uncommons and commons. So if you take a look there, common, uncommon, uncommon, common, 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 uncommon, your win condition's uncommon. But the land is basically built of rares. We have the rare Hallowed Fountain, Temple of Enlightenment, Steam Vents, Sacred Foundry, Temple of Triumph, and Rogran Triumph. Now, you could, I suppose, build, using all basic land. The whole point is to get as much mana out as humanly possible, especially of multicolored. That way, if you draw into, say, Drain Stinger, you can still cast it. If you don't, you can cycle it. Now, the nice thing about cycling is it's all colorless. Everything has a cycling cost of like 1 or 2 colorless. There's also like maybe there's a couple of 2 drops in there that need 2 mana to cycle. Let's jump into it. This deck has gotten me into Platinum. That is how unprepared the meta was for a cycling deck. Now, a lot of decks do make use of cycling, but they don't rely on it. It's not their, lack of a better word, it's not their win condition. It's not the sole purpose of their deck. They'll have a lot of cards that say, build off from, bigger beasties like Titanic Rex, but he also offers cycling, and his ability is, if you cycle, you can offer a, creature on your side of the field a trample counter. Like I said, it doesn't rely on that cycling. That mechanic is not a necessity. So we're going to pay the 2 life, and we're going to get this going. We're actually going to cast this. There. Now, every time I draw a card, I get a counter. I remove 8 counters, I get an 8/8 Kraken. Okay? Sure. Send one of my cycling cards to the graveyard. Which I'm probably going to send my Zenith Flare. That would be, yep, my Zenith Flare. Okay. That's okay. I draw. I play this. I cycle this. I draw, get a counter. I cycle. I draw, get a counter. We're going to get rid of this one. We cycle it. Now what I'm trying to do is get into not only my mana, but I'm also trying to draw into my Flourishing Fox. With Flourishing Fox, he gets a +1/+1 every time I, cycle. So, let's scry. See what's going on there. Sure, we're going to draw into Footfall Crater. We'll cycle this. Cycle this. We're going to cycle this. Alright, and there's the other Ominous Seas. But as you can see, I now have, 3, 6, 7 cards in the grave that have cycle. Target opponent removes their hand. All I have is land cards left, so we're going to cycle this. Okay, we're going to pay the 2 life to let that enter play. We're going to cycle this. Alright, mana. Now, by the time I draw into my other Zenith Flares, I'll be doing 10 damage and healing for 10 health. And right now he's just wasting Thought Erasures because I have nothing left. All I have left is mana. And that's a Sky Nomad, Blight Beetle. Creatures your opponent control can't have a +1/+1 counter on them. Sure. Now, I may have to adjust this deck because I think it runs a little mana heavy. But that being said, this guy may actually be my ultimate bane. So we're going to actually concede this match. This deck does actually work, so do bear with me. It may take me a couple minutes. Every once in a while, you do run into that match where it's like, yeah, you are just doomed to lose. Because I have actually learned that the opponent selection there isn't entirely random. The game actually gives you people that their decks are meant to more or less trounce you. Now, how that works in most cases, I'm not sure. But either way. So that being said, this deck also runs Go for Blood. Now, Go for Blood is not entirely only for cycling. I'll use this to kill my opponent's high-cost creatures, high-power creatures. If I can get a Flourishing Fox out, I will Go for Blood. Just because it's that simple once the cycling gets going. So, we're actually going to scry to see what's going on. Alright, right into a Frost Veil. So, we'll Boon of the Wishgiver. Cycling, I draw. Cycling, I draw. There we go. Okay, there's my Zenith Flare. Zenith Flare, all its damage is based on cycling. So, the more cycling I get into the graveyard, the more damage and chaos I'm going to rain. And the more healing I'm going to get done. Okay, so he's got the Umori, the Collector, out. It enters the battlefield, choose a card type. Spells you cast of the chosen type. Okay, so creatures cost more. Sorry, guys. Alright, we're going to cycle that. Right into Footfall Crater. We're going to cycle that. I draw. We're going to cycle that. There's my Flourishing Fox. We're actually going to do this one more time. We're going to pop that for an 8/8 Kraken. There. Now I have the block. And I can deal 6 damage with a Zenith Flare. I'm also going to drop my Flourishing Fox on my next turn so I can start building him up with +1/+1 counters. Okay, so he's going to mutate. That means he gets to add a basic land card onto the battlefield tapped. Now I could use a Go for Blood. Really could. I couldn't target that migratory, but I could nail that Umori. So, basically, as I've said before, this deck, all about the cycling. As we're going to see here in just a second, I'm going to cast it to probably blow up the Umori. But first, we're going to drop this. We're going to drop Flourishing Fox. We're actually going to hard cast him. Alright, next we're going to cast this. We're going to eliminate the Umori. 6 damage to you, 6 life to me. No swings. Now, the thing about this deck is it's, in my opinion, a tempo deck. It's not strictly an aggro deck. Just due to the fact that I can take things in stride. There are times I can speed up. You know, where I have an entire hand of cycle cards. And I'm searching for my Zenith Flares. Yeah. That right there is what I need. Or I can take it slow like I am right now and just kind of go loosey-goosey. But what I'm probably going to do is I'm going to cycle the Valiant Rescuer so I can deal 7 damage, and I'm going to blow up that Archipelagor Leviathan. That'll work. Alright, so we're actually going to cast this one. We're going to hard cast it. That way I can do a little extra damage. We're going to cycle the Valiant Rescuer. He gets a counter. He takes a point of damage. I draw. And we're we're going to hard cast this. That way I've got some blocks, and I'm already well on my way into my next kraken. Okay, so now whenever he mutates, he gets a 3/3. And now he's going to tap down my kraken. I need him to swing with that Archipelagor, so I can hit it with a Zenith Flare. But he's probably not going to. So, cycle. Draw. We're actually going to cast this. Deal 8 damage to him. I gain 8 life. No attacks. Now the thing for him is he has to keep locking these guys down. Okay, where X is the number of times this creature is mutated. Okay, so the more it mutates, the more creatures get locked down. So now he's going to lock down everything. Yeah, at this point now, it's just all about cycling. Because the more he mutates, the worse off I am. But at least I'm gaining life. Now, if I can get 2 more cycle cards in the graveyard, I am set. I draw. We're actually going to cycle this. Extra damage. Auto pay. Go ahead. I deal an extra point of damage. And yeah, I actually have the damage to do it. Yeah. Zenith Flare. You lose, I win. And that basically is this deck in a nutshell. As you can see, between Drain Stinger and Zenith Flare, I was able to get the damage that I needed, because every time I cycle, he's taking a point of damage. And that's softening him up for me to drop Zenith Flare. So, let's take another look at the deck. This is called Jeskai Cycling, courtesy of my buddy Auradon. Now, 4 Flourishing Fox, 3 Footfall Craters, 3 Draineth Healers, 3 Valiant Rescuers. Now, the Valiant Rescuer, normally I don't cycle him. I try to drop at least 1, because every time I'm cycling, I'm creating a 1/1 white human soldier token. And that gives me a chump blocker, or a meat shield, so that I can continue to cycle. The only downside to this card is he can only create a soldier once per turn. So the first time you cycle each turn, he creates a creature. Now, if you really want to get your value out of Valiant Rescuer, what you do is you cycle on your turn, save a card to cycle, and cycle on your opponent's turn. That way, each round you're getting 2 soldiers. You're getting 2 blocks. If the game doesn't allow you to take that time, then don't worry about it. But that would be the best way to use Valiant Rescuer. 3 Ominous Seas, obviously for the Kraken, because with a cycling deck, that's all you do is draw. So you draw, you get counters, you get Krakens. 3 Startling Development, strictly for the draw. Or if I want to be that guy, I use it to turn one of the 1/1s I get off from him into a 4/4. Drain and Stinger, obviously for the damage. Go for Blood to fight a creature and get rid of it if I can't burn it. Zenith Flares, Frostvale Ambushes, the Boon of the Wishgiver. 2 Plains, 3 Mountain, 3 Island, Hallowed Fountain, Temple of Enlightenment, Steam Vents, Sacred Foundry, Temple of Triumph, and Rugrin Triome. Like I said, this deck in a nutshell, it's basically, for lack of a better term, it's basically idiot-proof. You know, my buddy showed it to me. I've been using it ever since, and so far it has gotten me into Platinum tier. It got me out of gold all the way through, got me to Platinum, so it's going to get me 3 packs, 1,000 gold, and 2 card artworks this season. I'm hoping to get a little further, but we shall see. With that being said, guys, if you like the videos, you know what to do. Smash that sub button, hit the bell so you get notified. Come join the community. We're growing by leaps and bounds every day. And I will see you guys next time.